Let's talk about keeping the raw meat separate. Can they spread bacteria? Carla, this is a really important one.
Yes, absolutely. People don't think sometimes that within fruits, vegetables, and meats, there's a cross-contamination in there, whether they're cooked or raw even. We definitely don't want to mix those two, especially when they're raw, but we don't want to mix those two at all. So usually we'll recommend people having separate cutting boards. So, having your cutting boards for fruits, for vegetables, and then separate for meat, for red meats, and even separate for your fish. There's the three most common bacteria tend to be Salmonella, E-coli, and Listeria. And so these are the bacteria that, especially out in the summer.
And they are not invited to the barbecue.
They're not invited to the barbecue.
Invited to the barbecue.
They propagate very quickly, and they like that they like that heat. They like the warm temperature. So that's why the recommendation is to keep cold food cold and hot food hot. So there is a range in there. When they're sitting out for more than an hour or a few hours, this is when they can really start to spread out. So we'll tell people really to, when they're prepping their raw meat, for example, taking it out to the barbecue on that plate, to not use the same plate to put the cooked meat on that plate where the raw juices were.
How common is that? Because I see that so much. You get the meat and then you just automatically just put it on the same plate you brought it out in.
Yeah, because we think it's the same food, it doesn't really matter, but it does matter because the bacteria was in the raw meat and those juices, versus when it's cooked, it's already been killed. Right. So you're basically bringing it back to that cooked meat. And maybe, not everybody will get food poisoning, but there's susceptible individuals, for example, pregnant women, kids, the elderly, where they might end up in the hospital because of that food poisoning. So it's very important if you're cooking fish, separate mats, separate plate, wash it after you take it to the barbecue, and use a clean one to put the fish back in that plate. And your salad, keep them way separate. If it's your fresh raw salad, right, there's no need to mix them up, bringing them at all to the grill. Just keep them chilled in the refrigerator until it's time to be consumed. If it's grilled vegetables, it's a different story, but you still want to use a separate cutting board with a knife, and then in the heat, everything's gonna get killed, hopefully. That's the idea. So in the grill, it doesn't really matter, but when it's brought back into the plate, that's where it matters the most.